Welcome, guys, good people. Bruce Leroy Bar Report. We got episode 22 today with none other than the homie, Kristen. And she's the host of Imperfect on Purpose, the podcast. Super dope one out, so we appreciate that. Coming from South Bend. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Can't complain. Good to have you on the show as always. And, just have people that I think I'm influenced by or just individual stuff that goes on. Like I said, you the first podcast interview, so yeah. It's a dope feeling to have you on. For sure. As always, we just get started. Get your backstory. Already gave your name, but pretty much your backstory, how you got to this point of, where you got Imperfect on Purpose going.
Okay. So it's funny because this is kind of not this necessarily, but doing a podcast is kind of my full circle moment. So since I was 12 or 13, I wanted to be a talk show host. That was my career choice. I was I'm gonna be Oprah. It's gonna be dope. And I even went to school for that. I went to Ball State, and I was studying kind of telecommunications, and I was I'm gonna start in video journalism, and I'm gonna be a talk show host or whatever. Okay. And then I ended up getting pregnant with my son, so I'm 20. And I ended up having to drop out of school. It was just, I'm dang, I probably ain't gonna be no talk show host.
Right.
I might as well, give that up. But instead of not going back to school, I still went back to school and I studied business and marketing. Mm-hmm. And then in the more recent year, and I ended up graduating. And then in the more recent years, podcasting has become so much more popular. And I was
absolutely,
man, I could really do that. I feel I'd be, pretty good at that. I feel I'd be dope or whatever. Mm-hmm. This is my chance. And so and videos and me and you kind of talked about video is the new wave. Podcasting is up next. And so I'm man, I really should do a video podcast. I feel people will rock with it. And so that's kind of how I got here. I'm pretty much a perfectionist. And so, starting this podcast called Imperfect on Purpose is really just about kind of getting rid of that strive for perfection and letting it go and just kind of going with it and creating. And in the process, talking with other people and allowing them to have a platform to tell their story. Cool. So that's why I'm here.
And imperfect too could be. Even imperfect is the opposite of perfect. But to have somebody say imperfect, it could be perfect in their way.
Yeah,
the way I look at it. So that's dope. What are your top 3 podcasts you listen to aside from yourself? What are your top 3 right now?
Okay,
if you got any.
So.
And they can switch up because I switch up a lot. I might have one week and then the next week could be completely different. So if you got a top 3 that you listen to faithfully.
So my number one favorite podcast is this podcast called Horrible Decisions.
Okay. I never heard of that.
As in the word.
For sure.
It's a sex podcast. It's really funny though. The hosts of it are corporate turned I don't know how to describe it. Y'all just have to listen to it. But Horrible Decisions is hilarious.
That's one. Okay.
And then locally, I rock with your podcast a lot.
Appreciate you. Yeah.
And then I actually just recently started listening to Kevin Hart's podcast. I really rock with his as well. I think it's called Heart to Heart.
That's the one where he sits down with the other people
with the wine and stuff.
Nice.
I think I don't know. I really I love when podcasts have kind of an additional aspect to him, and so he has the wine and stuff that he shows.
That's dope.
And then I guess if I could do an honorable mention,
absolutely.
I don't know if they have an audio version because I've never seen it. But have you ever seen Hot Ones?
With the where they eat the wings. Yeah. That's.
I don't know if they have an audio version or not, but that's one of my favorite
dope.
video talk show type scenarios.
I just watched that one. I think Idris Elba was on it.
Yeah.
And he wasn't feeling. He was
that's from the meme where he be coughing.
Yes. Yeah, that's a funny one. And that's on. At one point, it was on TV too.
Really?
It was on TBS for a long time. Where they was. I think it picked up the traction of it and it got more popular. So it was YouTube and maybe TV. But yeah, I rock with $1 million worth of game for sure. Whether it's video or audio. Mm-hmm. I personally, I like mine, but it took me a while to listen to mine just because it's my shit. It took me a while to get to it, but and then Bad Friends. Actually, Rome and my guy Indy, he was the first episode. They got me listening to that one, and It's hilarious. It's one of those where you gotta check out a couple episodes. It's kind of like slow starting, but it's also one of those where like once you get into it, it's definitely one to check out. Let's go to if you could go back 10 years and talk to your 10 years ago, talk to the person you were then. What advice would you give them?
Okay, let's see. 10 years ago, so I'm 28, finna be 29. So I would have been 18, 19.
Yeah.
So I just got to college.
Okay.
Man. See, but here's the thing. I wouldn't want to change anything about my journey. So I wouldn't want to say too much, because
And it don't even have to be negative advice. It could be it don't even be something you have to change. Just like any type of advice, knowing what you know now, giving that person advice 10 years ago.
Okay, I feel like it would pretty much just be keep going. Everything somehow, some way. At the end of the day, everything works out, and that I feel like that advice could go for anything. Somehow, some way, at the end of the day, it all works out. And that's always happened to me. And I feel like everybody that I know, it's always happened to them. So when you see something and it feels like it's the end or it's not, it's not going to work out or I ain't going to never make it through this. Somehow, some way, it literally always, works out. Day. Yeah, so, just tough it out. It'll work out. It'll be fine. And it's all happening for, a purpose and a reason.
Absolutely. So, with you doing podcasting now as well, and you said you wanted to do be the next Oprah type thing. Would you ever still? I mean, podcasting is. I mean, it's a form of talking. It's not a talk show per se. But would you still want to pursue that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Still go to talk shows?
I feel like the format of my show is kind of like a talk show, just in the sense of I mainly focus on the video while I do, download the episodes in audio form and put them on all the audio platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts and stuff. But when I'm working towards something, it's always for the video. And so I definitely, if any TV show network be yo, this is,
want to pick
let's
up?
go.
Let's do it. Let's do
I'm with it.
It might spark off the podcast though.
Man.
That might be somewhere it's somebody see. It could be one person, one big wig, one corporate person. They okay. And then they come back to it. They might see this and be like, "Oh, she want to be a talk show? Oh yeah, let's get this going. Let's see if we can do something network wise. That'll be dope for sure.
Man,
for sure.
I'm definitely with it.
Hey, why not? We manifesting it right now on the show for sure. We do a thing over here called rapid fire questions. So we do this or that. Would you rather type thing. So
I've seen these before.
Got a couple for you. I got some random ones, but we go. If you can answer them to your full extent, go ahead. Just start off easy. Missy Elliott or Busta Rhymes?
Oh, that's a hard one.
And it's all your perspective.
I'm gonna go with Missy Elliott.
Okay. For
a random reason of that. I don't know if people know this, but she can sing too.
Hold with it.
She can do the fast rap, but she can also sing. I don't think Busta Rhymes can sing.
No. He might have tried on a couple tracks where it was stick to the rapping, my guy. Stick to it. That's cool. I like that answer. NWA, Wu-Tang.
Oh. I rock with the Wu too, but I'm gonna have to go with NWA.
NWA, okay, for sure. And I'm just asking these questions because you already mentioned your age, so I'm kind of when I ask these, I'm like, let me put in the same decade and see if you kind of know the music as well. Let's go with a store where every item in there is discount free, or a restaurant where every food item is calorie free. So going to a store
where everything is free,
or going to a restaurant where everything on the menu is calorie free.
I have to go with the free store.
Free store.
I don't care about no calories.
No, the calories don't even matter at this point. See,
metabolism be working how it's supposed to still.
For sure. Let's go with loud or noisy neighbors.
Wait, you said loud?
Loud or noisy neighbors.
Ain't loud and noisy the same thing? Wait.
Nosy.
Oh, nosy. I thought you said noisy. I was like, wait.
Nosy.
Probably
noisy.
Loud. Probably loud. Yeah. I don't want no nosy neighbors.
No nosy rosies.
Yeah.
So the loud you can tolerate.
Yeah, I can tolerate some loud neighbors because we probably those neighbors in our neighborhood. So.
Would you rather go to the past and meet your ancestors, or go to the future and meet your great grandkids?
Probably go to the future and meet my great grandkids.
Okay.
I don't feel like people should mess around with the past. Like,
but it's just for that reason. Like I think about stuff like that too. I know my grandparents, but I think about like my great grandparents, my beyond that. So I think about stuff like that, and I'm like, it'd be cool to meet them. But I
can see why people would want to do that, but I don't know. Like for me at least, like going back and seeing people in the past ain't really gone. I don't know. I mean, you can hear stories and stuff, but like you'll never be able to see like the product of like the full product of like the kids that you raised. Like,
true.
So like you can hear stories and see pictures of like people from the past or whatever.
For sure.
Do ancestry and stuff like that.
I like the way you put that for sure. Let's go with always hitting a red light when you're driving, or that's for the rest of your life. Always hitting a red light when you're driving for the rest of your life, or your internet going down.
Oh, hell no.
You're going off completely after the sun goes down.
I'd okay that. Dang. It's not until the sun go down.
So when the sun's down, you can't get on the internet no more.
Oh, yeah, no. That's why I need my internet. I guess I'm just going to have to drive slow. It's going to take me forever to get everywhere. I guess I'm going to have to do the red light because I need my internet. That's the best time for anything.
That's cool. 90s Nickelodeon, 90s Cartoon Network.
Ooh, that is a hard one. But I'm going to have to go with 90s Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon?
I did rock with Cartoon Network. But...
Me too. It was only certain times. Though Nickelodeon was like how Drake is. He take over a whole decade. Nickelodeon was that whole 90s.
Yeah, I can think of way more Nickelodeon shows that like I wouldn't be able to, give away. Like, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Upcoming things being worked on for you in 2022 and beyond.
Just improving the podcast, trying to talk to more people and tell more stories, and hopefully secure studio space of my own, that I can like customize and do whatever I want with.
And get that talk show spot.
Man, and get that talk show spot on network or something that we talked about.
Yeah, always. Hey, look out for her. Imperfect on Purpose is one of those. Like I said, I just started the podcast thing maybe like a couple years ago, but to have like substance and a meaning behind the podcast, you got all that in the works where it's like it's something you can actually listen to from beginning to end, no matter the time frame. So definitely appreciate something like that, especially coming from our city where it's like, we don't got too many people where it's like, okay, I got a podcast, I got this, I got that going on. So to see people blossom and go for their dreams and just kind of keep going with it, it's like it's a great thing to see. So big ups to you, shout out to you on that for real. I always like to give flowers for real because it's like, we might not have never had this podcast, but in this interview, but I would have still bigged you up if I saw you in person and shouted out and gave you your flowers in that way. So it's always appreciated for you to come on here and chop it up with me and get all the information out to the people that need to be got for real. You can and plug yourself in as well on all social where people can find you, where they can find your podcast, where they can whatever.
So my personal accounts are at life as Kristen. Kristen with an I, Kristin on any social media, including YouTube. And then the podcast is just on Instagram, it's Imperfect on Purpose Pod. And then TikTok is maybe it's Imperfect Purpose. Honestly, I don't know.
You got a lot of accounts. Hey, but you networking.
Yeah.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. You can find me, like I said, if you want to watch an episode, Life is Kristen on YouTube, or you can type in Imperfect on Purpose Podcast and it'll pop up.
No skips on them. All 9 episodes fire, so y'all better go check that out for real. As always, pleasure to having you, Kristen. Imperfect on Purpose. Leroy Bar Report episode 2. We out like that.
Thank you.
I still got that ace. I always got the hot shit. Going like an auction. Smoking on it, I was blowing on it. Got the floating on it and forgot shit. When Smokey said it, I was coughing. Puff pass, I'm on offense.